Long before I got into seriously studying the Constitution, I lived in a ward where we were introduced to DNA evidence for the geography of the Book of Mormon. My good brother, who distributed the DVD to anyone in the ward who was interested. And so this was around early 2008 or so, and I found it fascinating. The evidence was so obvious, so solid, that Joseph Smith knew what he was talking about before there was a chance for DNA or scientific evidence to prove him right. So it's very interesting. But anyhow, welcome to Whatsoever More or Less. My name is Jason. I just got done listening to this YouTube channel recently. I think it's called Messages of Christ, or maybe it's called Messages of Christ. I'm pretty darn sure. And anyhow, they did a fine 3.5 hour post of nothing but general conference talks that since the years that technology can actually record general conferences and we have access to them. None of them were in black and white either, so I guess since the modern years of color general conference recordings of general conference talks, they posted 3.5 hours worth of apostles and prophets talking about our doctrine regarding the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the proper role of government, those kind of things, and our responsibilities to our governments. And anyhow, very interesting video. I made a quick comment on it. Now I'm getting informed on everybody else's comment. This morning I find a comment of someone basically saying, because there's a few people that just all they want to do is they just want to go in there and basically complain about President Trump instead of discussing the actual Constitution. So there was somebody who said Donald Trump is immoral. He keeps arresting Lamanites in the streets and breaking the law. And I thought to myself, wow, there's your fruits of the Central American theory of the Book of Mormon. Even though we have a prophet that just recently prayed for the rule of law, I think there was somebody even in there that said President Oaks is too blind to see how crooked Donald Trump is. I thought to myself, well, oh, aren't you full of yourself? You've got it all figured out somehow. That's very interesting. But anyhow, this is the fruits of the Central American theory. The Central American theory of the Book of Mormon is built on the sandiest foundation I can think of. It's not built on a big picture study of the scriptures, statements regarding where the Lamanites were in, say, for example, the Doctrine and Covenants, or where Joseph Smith sent the missionaries, or Joseph Smith's own journal writings and letters talking about crossing the plains of the Lamanites, or of the Nephites, and all that. All they want to point to is one Times and Seasons article that's unsigned. When Joseph Smith said he claims credit for all stuff that's signed by him, containing his signature. This is the way people like to interpret the Constitution, by the way, you guys. There'll be a requisite detail in there, and they just want to dismiss that requisite detail. And so this is how we get, living constitutionalism. This is how we get stuff like the Mesoamerican model for the Book of Mormon. Now, I'm not saying that Jonathan Neville is 100% correct, but I have found when I read his books, analyzing the possibilities, he's like a lawyer. He breaks down, okay, there's only literally one spot in the Book of Mormon. It says the exact words, narrow neck of land. All the others either say narrow neck without saying of land, or neck of land, those are three different terms. Those are three separate terms. So anyhow, but let's not worry about getting into that. Let me go ahead and highly recommend to you guys that you check out with sincere consideration the work of Rod Meldrum or of Jonathan Neville. I mean, sincere consideration. If all you're going to do is try to prove it wrong, then don't even waste my time. Don't waste your time. Don't waste anybody's time, okay? Because, I watched all this stuff. I watched all these Fair Mormon things, all these Central American things, and I couldn't help but notice they had to consistently bypass quote after quote from Joseph Smith, and the requirement that he said he only claimed credit for the Times and Seasons articles that were signed by him. Okay, so my mama didn't raise no fool. I can tell when people are intentionally leaving out information. Okay? So it's very simple, and the fruits of it are playing out. That's being used as a justification for the violation of rule of law, for the violation of constitutional promises guaranteed, which we just happen to say that our Constitution is a divinely inspired Constitution. No, Donald Trump is not immoral for enforcing that constitutional promise guaranteed. Anyone who doesn't know that that's a constitutional promise guaranteed, yet claims to be diligent in paying attention to the words of the prophets, maybe. I mean, okay, I have weaknesses, gaps in my knowledge of the Old Testament or Doctrine and Covenants, I'll admit it. I've studied it, but I can't remember all the different points. But look at Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution, please, because we've been told it's akin to the revelations of God. Right there, it guarantees protection from invasion. And there's even the backup plan in Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3, that I will be getting into this soon. I still plan on doing my video about the whittling away of compound republicanism, as James Madison called it. But even states are justified in protecting their borders. So anyhow, I had a thought for you. Just a second here. Let my brain come back to it. Oh yeah, I was looking up some statistics. United States sits in North America. United States and Canada sit in North America. There's a significant portion of the upper North American region that isn't reasonably inhabitable. And there's a less significant portion of South America that isn't reasonably inhabitable. If you look at the inhabitable land of North America versus the inhabitable land of South America, there are considerably more people per square mile in North America than there are in South America. If people from Central America wanted to go someplace with room to live and room to try new things, according to population statistics and livability, South America would be the better direction to go. Okay, according to the Constitution itself, we are obligated to protect our borders. This is not optional. Congress cannot mandate away Article 4, Section 4 by way of a simple law. An executive order cannot make that go away. The only thing that could change that is Article 5. And until Article 5 changes that, it's a promise guaranteed in the Constitution. The rule of law is important. It's so important in our founding. Let's understand even the way we were founded. Let's look at the Declaration of Independence. It wasn't just sovereign citizen type baloney. It wasn't just straight up rebellion. It was rather, okay, we've got a Continental Congress. We're thinking clearly. We're thinking carefully. We're formulating these laws. Okay, we're going to encourage all the states right now to develop constitutions to maintain the rule of law. 1776, you got a bunch of constitutions. You got a Declaration of Independence. You got the Articles of Confederation. You got carefully structured people who already live in this region and have lived here for longer than the British, telling the British, you're no longer welcome here. We're establishing our own system of government. Okay, we're not rebelling. We're not going chaotic. We're not doing mob rule. It's not like France. It's not like this. It's not like that. This is one of the most important things about the revolution that I think we might miss, especially if you believe in that sovereign citizen type of thing. You're not paying attention enough. Okay, Thomas Jefferson argues for prudence in the Declaration of Independence. I've even come to the conclusion as I study the Constitution, except for in very, very rare exceptions, very, 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 very rare exceptions, the executive branch, when they force their way into searching your house without a proper warrant, when they arrest you without probable cause, when they do this, when they do that, the overwhelming majority of the time, we can make a plea for our case, but we should not force our case. We should allow ourselves to be taken if they refuse to listen to our pleas to the Constitution. Because in the end, the Constitution is backed up with that separate judiciary branch. The separate judiciary branch is not there to tell us what the Constitution is. The separate judiciary branch is there to either call the case valid or dismiss the case based on what the Constitution actually says. And that's the legitimate application of the judiciary branch. That's the importance. And we as citizens very rarely have the right to resist the executive branch. Very, 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 very rarely. But you need to study the Constitution. You need to understand these things. And so, crossing the border because you think you're a Lamanite, you're justified to be here, or telling people to cross the border because you think they're Lamanites, they're justified to be here. So go ahead and violate the Constitution. Shows ignorance of what Joseph Smith said about where the Book of Mormon is, shows ignorance about our doctrine about the Constitution, and shows ignorance about what the Constitution actually says, and shows ignorance about our founding and even our constant effort towards the rule of law. That was the key part of the American founding. Let's get something written down in a Constitution. Let's get it applied. Let's get it agreed upon. Let's do it right, and let's do it right from the start. If we have to modify later, we will. Okay. Anything that's done without the rule of law is tainted. I've pointed to the Civil War and the Reconstruction Amendments a lot. I will even point to the United States Constitution. God put his finger of approval on it. But I find it interesting that the only two of our founding presidents that participated in violating the Articles of Confederation are the two that didn't die on the 4th of July. Out of 5 founding presidents, 3 of them died on the 4th of July. And I can't help but notice that, and I can't help but wonder, what is that one thing? Why is it? James Madison apparently was quite close, and they offered, but that's just me kind of like noticing interesting things. Don't read into it too much. We believe in the rule of law. President Oaks recently prayed for it at the Burley, Idaho Temple dedication. We just heard this amazing thing about the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Our founding is built on a concept of the rule of law. That's all there is to it. It is not built on this concept of, I'm entitled to this, so I'm just going to do it. I'm a sovereign citizen. I'm this, I'm that. I'm a Lamanite, and I'm allowed to be here. None of that. That is not the rule of law. And I don't know, it's just a random thought I had this morning after seeing that funny little post. Again, the channel I think is called Messages of Christ. It has 3.5 hours of color general conference video talking about the Constitution and our doctrine regarding government. And that's what I've got for you guys this morning. Thanks for listening. We'll see you.